I've been trying to find a fashion designer to do a career spotlight profile on for our YouTube channel for quite some time now. Just the other day, my wife came home from shopping in downtown Rosetown here, and she talked about all these nice clothes at this boutique called Sunday Sparks, which I really didn't know too much about. I just knew it was down there. And she said, yeah, and Sophia Sparks that runs that boutique designed some of her own clothes there. And I go, what? That can't be possible in a small town like this. And sure enough, it is. She said, no, I bought one of her dresses even. And so this, I have to thank my wife for kind of putting me on track to talk to Sophia. And Sophia was more than willing to do a career profile and career spotlight. And I want to go downtown right now and meet her and see what this is all about.
Hi, Kevin. Come on in. We're just going to make our way all the way down this pink hallway. It's a little bit of a trek, but I promise you it's worth it. Hi. Did you? And Meadow, we're going to show everybody our beautiful boutique. Welcome.
I'm here today with Sophia Sparks of Sunday Sparks Clothing Company, and today we're at the Sunday Sparks Boutique in Rosetown, Saskatchewan. And I guess to start this off with, I'll just have Sophia talk about the business that she has here and kind of how it all began and kind of where it's at today.
Sounds good, Kevin. Welcome to my boutique here today at 207 Main Street, Rosetown. We're located just at the end of the pink hallway. You can find us with our doors open Tuesday through Fridays, 11 to 4. We started off not too long ago. We opened the online boutique in February of 2024, and then the physical location followed shortly after, and we had our grand opening in June of 2024.
So can you tell a little bit of background of how everything got started as far as where the idea came from to open up a boutique and an online clothing store as well?
Yes, so we started online. That was the original dream. And it really just started on the couch in our little farmhouse with my husband and I. I was always working in retail. I had been selling secondhand consignment through eBay, Poshmark, and selling thrifted finds. And I really, really loved that. I had hundreds of 5-star reviews. I really connected with customers all across the country and even in the States. So when it came time to talk about dreaming a little bit bigger and maybe starting my own line, my husband was very supportive. And I honestly could not be doing this today without his amazing love.
That's awesome to see. It's a kind of a family venture as well.
Family business.
Yeah. You've always had the online part of this business, and then you expanded to the boutique. So what led to the expansion to the boutique?
Ever since I started in business, I've learned a really good quote. It's never what you know, it's who you know. And in my case, I was able to meet the owner of this building through dining at her establishment called the Parlor Restaurant. And after we connected there, she happened to have a space available in her building. And before you knew it, I was moving in.
That's good. And so now just to summarize, you have the online business still going,
Yes.
and as well as the store here, the boutique here in Rosetown.
Yes, and I'm so grateful for the online aspect because even though I'm not able to always be at the boutique, such as when I gave birth to Meadow in February and I took all of March off, I was still able to make sales online, ship them all across Canada, and that way still continue to connect with customers.
So obviously the modern business model.
Yes.
Exactly. Seeing that we're at the boutique, can you kind of just give us a brief little tour of the store?
Absolutely. So first I'll introduce you to the new arrivals rack. We always start with the in-season items first when you walk in so you can see what we have available. For example, the Marjorie top is a beautiful lightweight for spring. We have the Sadie top, which is a great floral design. And we have a lot of natural fibers here in the boutique. So this one is a cotton, 100% cotton pure raglan top. We have pure bamboo tops as well, made in Canada. We're really loving supporting local these days. And then when you make your way around here, we've color coordinated our beige rack and creams. We've got greens going on in that wall, blacks and blues and denims. Here we have sweatshirts and hoodies and cardigans and something a little bit more layering. And then of course, when I go through my boutique and I see what I've sold online for the day, I bring it over to this rack. So we just sold the Maggie top. I will be steaming it before I pack and ship.
Okay, and I see over here we have a little bit of a shoe selection as well.
Yes, we do. So our best-selling shoes have actually been our Bernie Mevs down here. They have comfort memory foam soles, and therefore they are great for wide feet, great for bunions, any kind of foot issue you might have. You're not going to have that issue there. We've got a couple of sandals, and of course, real leather footwear from Portugal.
Sophia, one of the things that intrigued me when I heard about your boutique and about your clothing company was that I understand that you do design some of your own lines and some of your own apparel. Can you kind of show us some of that and also talk about the background of how that part has developed in your store?
Sure thing, Kevin. So just to introduce you real quick to these ladies over here, we have on display in front of you today the Sinead dress in fuchsia with her short sleeves, 100% cotton skirt, and deep pockets. We have the Michelle dress in her beautiful ivory shade, again sleeveless, and over here with the beautiful lines in the fabric running in the directions to complement your silhouette and elongate. Here we have the Elsa in the cherry blossom inspired by Toronto High Park in the spring. That is where I'm from, by the way, Toronto. And I came to marry a farmer. So then I designed these dresses with inspiration from Canadian nature landscapes. And I also wanted to bring in the concept of dresses being gorgeous, but also being practical and without losing any of that elegance in the design. So this is just my first stab at fashion design and creating any garments of any sort. So what I can share with you would just mostly be what I've learned along the way. I do not proclaim myself to be an expert. I am learning just as much as you would be if you were to enter the industry today. And I think the number one thing to start off with would be vision and target audience. Who are you selling to and who are you designing clothing for? And even when you're running a boutique like this, even if you don't design and you just want to sell clothing, who are you selling to? Who do you want to walk in, purchase your items, wear them on the street, and represent your brand? So nailing down that niche market would be the first step. Number two would be concept and design. So if you are going into the creation route like I have, you would probably start off with some sketches of what do you want your dresses or clothing pieces or pants or shirts to look like. And then from there, you would need to find a manufacturer. So manufacturing, it can happen anywhere in the world, but it is quite limited in Canada. So if you are going to look for manufacturers in Canada, you should be aware that the ability to do that is not as ample as it would be overseas, and therefore the cost would also be something that you would have to consider. Because if there isn't that much supply, there are going to be higher costs. So I prefer to have my clothing designed here and then created overseas. So in this case, I was able to find a manufacturer that spoke Mandarin. And if you have some random skills like speaking another language, see if you can leverage that in your production process and see if you can find people that also speak that language and maybe can help you. In my case, I found manufacturers who spoke Mandarin and I just asked them, I'm new to the game, what do I need? Turns out I need a knowledge of fabrics, a knowledge of measurements and textiles, and also they would need to understand where you're coming from in terms of what your vision is. So it's good that you've already established that. And that way, for example, for me, I really wanted to make sure that as we sized up the garments, they maintained the integrity to the same silhouette style, not just taking into consideration, okay, the waist needs to be bigger and the hips need to be bigger, but also guess what? Usually as your body expands horizontally, it might also do it for your arms. And so the arm designs also had to incorporate a larger size here along the seams so that the wearer could be more comfortable. That's just like little details that come to your mind as you're going through the process. And once you do find a manufacturer, a very common term that you'll find in the fashion industry is MOQ. That stands for minimum order quantities. So when you are ordering in bulk, they're not just going to create one garment for you or 5 garments for you. You're going to want to understand what is the minimum threshold that they will actually put into production so that they can also run their business profitably too.
I understand, Sophia, that you don't have formal training in fashion design, which I find really fascinating. And I think it's really kind of liberating in a way it is to know that you don't have to always have this, expensive formal education, which some people prefer and some people want, that's fine. But in your case, you don't have any. So can you, in fashion design that is, so can you describe how you've learned this whole process about fashion design?
Sure, Kevin. I am almost embarrassed to be sharing this with you because I'm so not an expert and I'm so humbled that you even want to speak with me today. But when it comes to what I do and how I learned it, first of all, Google's your friend. There's so much information out there that's free that people are willing to share. That's actually quite quality when it comes to the level of valuable insight that they're able to provide. And that's what I did. And then when I tried reaching out to people who could potentially help me along this journey, I just had, I guess, the guts to sound dumb and ask all the questions that were in my head and say, I'm just new to this. I honestly don't know. Can you please answer this question for me? And I would say 10 times out of 10, people said, yes, I'm willing to answer this. Because it's really not something that no one's been there before. We've all started in our industries knowing pretty much next to nothing. And when you own that and you just come up and show up and say, here I am ready to learn, more often than not, I find people are willing to help you.
Well, I think that's important too, to place limits on yourself then, that way, and but you've got to got to take some courage to kind of start from scratch like that. So I think it's admirable. So
I
well,
like to say I'm not at all smart, but I do think I'm a little bit naive and courageous.
all right, that's awesome. I think that's part of being an entrepreneur too.
Yes, you have to believe in your dream.
That's right. That's right. So I guess the last thing I want to ask today is rewards and challenges. I mean, every occupation, every career has rewards, and every occupation has challenges. So can you highlight some of those for me?
I think one of the challenges, and I started working retail in my teens, so this has been a challenge up until this day, but even more so now when I have my own brand. When you're dealing with people and you're not going to resonate with everybody in the market, and sometimes people make it very clear to you, I've had to develop a little bit of a thicker skin when it comes to customer service relations. So if you ever want to go into a client-facing role or a people-facing role in any sort, I think it's really important to learn to not take things personally, let them wash off your back, don't bring it home. That would be one of the challenges. And then one of the greatest rewards that I've had would be seeing something that was a dream in my head come into reality, and then going on women's bodies as they step out of the change room, trying them on, going into a shopping bag as they bring it home for their purchase of the day, and then getting messages about how much they loved wearing it to a wedding or a grad or their daughter's special event, and knowing that you've made a difference in someone's life and you've made them just a little bit more joyful with something that you created.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you.